Fellas, blink if you haven't purchased a Father's Day gift yet. Yeah, that's what I thought. Luckily, today's video is brought to you by Manscaped, the leader in below-the-waist grooming. Our friends at Manscaped have crafted the total package for his special day. Head over to manscaped.com and get 20% off plus free shipping with code SKILLUP. Click below to get started or stick around to the end of the video to learn more. The Xbox 2024 showcase. It is done. Was it good? Well, let's use the same metric that we applied to Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Showfest thingamajig Trailerama. Let's go to the Twitter poll that he himself posted up. He got kind of roasted in the Twitter poll about his own showcase, but if you look at the Xbox One, pop onto the screen, there it goes. Absolutely, everybody loved it. Xbox absolutely crushed it. They needed a huge win this year. Obviously, faith in the Xbox brand is at an all-time low right now. And that's for a number of reasons, not least of all because there's been a real lack of Xbox games in the last little while. Also, this move to multi-platform has really confused people, and they're like, well, why should I own an Xbox at this point? And of course, we've had these layoffs, both at a massive scale and also more recently with the closure of Arcane Austin and Tango Gameworks. Tango Gameworks really stinging because that was a tremendously talented studio who put out one of the best Xbox exclusives in a long time, all of a sudden shuttered for reasons unknown. So I want to be really clear that I like this showcase as well. This is not me gonna come out here and be like, well, actually this sucks. No, I like this too. I think this was cool. But I'm a little bit surprised by how positive the overall reception to it was, given how little Xbox actually showed here. And what I mean by that is like the gameplay side of things was really very, very absent. Even when there is gameplay in some of these, like for example, we talk about Perfect Dark, and we talk about Fable, and we talk about Indiana Jones, and we say, well, they showed gameplay, and I'm like, did they really though? Like, do you feel really confident of what it's like to actually play those video games at this point? Because I certainly don't. I think they showed small snippets in around other cinematic, CG sequences or in-engine cutscenes. I think is what we also need to be aware of when a lot of these are coming out. And that's a point I'll come back to at the back of this video. But anyway, let's go through what's here first. We're gonna break into 3 sections. We're gonna talk about like updates and remasters and expansions. We'll knock that over first. Then we're gonna talk about the third-party offerings, which are quite a few, and some of them were excellent. And then we're gonna talk about Xbox's first-party stuff. I think that's a good way to break it down. So let's do it. All right, updates, expansions, and remasters. So a few things here to shout out. Biggest one, of course, being the Shattered Space DLC for Starfield. We knew this one was coming, and it's still on the way. There's actually no specific release date for it, but it is planned for sometime in 2024. The official description reads, a mysterious power stirs in the city of Dazra, the capital of House Varun's hidden homeworld. Investigate a frightening cosmic threat, explore a new planet, and find unique weapons, spacesuits, and gear in this all-new adventure. I feel like this didn't give too much away, but maybe that's for the best. It's a whole new adventure you get to experience fresh without having it spoiled by trailers or deep dives or whatever else. Look, Starfield had a rocky post-reception, and people are waiting for more content, sure, but they're also waiting for some core system change to the game to like make it more playable. Part of that will come through the launch of the Creation Club stuff, which is out right now. And that was kind of like burying the lead a little bit here. But yeah, there is the Creation Club stuff is now going live into Starfield. And that's Bethesda themselves kind of like taking certain mods and giving them their tick of approval and then pushing them out through their official platform. Obviously, Creation Club, very controversial for a number of reasons, but all Bethesda games are very reliant on a robust mod community. Hopefully this helps build that up because yeah, certainly a number of modders are just not interested in modding Starfield because they didn't like it at all, and they stepped away from it, and they were very public about that. Fallout 76 is getting its first expansion in the Skyline Valley. This is actually beautifully timed for Fallout 76 because it got a massive shot in the arm after the release of the TV show. Obviously the game has come a long way since launch. I still do not enjoy it, but hey, a lot of people do, a lot of people in fact. And so yeah, the first time the map is getting bigger, that's a very big deal. This one's launching pretty soon as well. This is on June 12th, so just a couple of days from now, and you get to play as a ghoul for the very first time, so that's kind of cool. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is a new edition of the game that adds new flight experiences and professions, like you can be a aerial advertiser and you can be a VIP pilot and all this sort of stuff. But I do feel like we already saw this trailer a while ago, so yeah, I'm not really sure what's up with that. We just sort of saw a lot of those same professions again. So yeah, anyway, that's on the way. The Elder Scrolls Online is celebrating 10 years. They've got more expansion content coming in the future as well. It's called the Gold Road. But for now, basically all of the expansion, or actually all of the expansion content is free. So if you'd like to jump in, there's never been a better time to do it. That release date for that new expansion content, the Gold Road, by the way, is June 18th. We got to look at the opening cinematic for Diablo 4, The Vessel of Hatred. Now, Diablo 4 is in a significantly better spot right now after they just did their like Loot Reborn, Loot 2.0 upgrade all over again, retreading the steps of Diablo 3, overhauling the loot economy and loot design hugely, and Diablo 4, the community has really never been more happy with the game. So it's got good momentum leading into an expansion which will launch towards the back end of this year. The trailer that they showed was pretty sick. I mean, it's classic Blizzard. I mean, say what you will about them, but those people, like, they really know how to make an incredible trailer. When that arm split in two, don't show it, Austin. It'll get the video demonetized, but that was a sick moment. Yeah, look, as I said many times, I actually enjoyed Diablo 4 quite a bit, so I'm quite looking forward to this one. Age of Mythology was always one of my favorite RTS games, and it's coming back in Age of Mythology Retold. It is a remaster, I guess in the same vein as the, Age of Empires remasters that Microsoft has done. They were really well received. Hopefully this one will be just as good. It does look fantastic. It just looks so beautiful and crisp to see it all there, like looking like that. That is slated for this year. It's arriving on the 4th of September for PC and for console. So that's cool. And finally, nothing reminds you that Microsoft now owns Blizzard than them promoting the next expansion for World of Warcraft. The War Within now has a release date. It's slated for August 8th, which is actually really soon. It was just a cinematic trailer that we've seen here, but Blizzard themselves have not been shy about what to expect in that expansion when it launches. So you can go check out more information about that if you're at all interested. It sets up a 3 expansion saga for Warcraft. It's the first time they've ever approached storytelling in quite that way. I actually do plan to jump in and check that out. Maybe see how much time I have spare. But yeah, it is a bit weird to just know that your WoW subscription is now going to Microsoft. That is just very strange, but that's how it is. So anyway, they were all the sort of like updates, expansions, and remasters that we saw. Let's take a look now at the third-party offerings that this showcase had, and there were quite a few, and they were really good. Let's kick off with the most controversial one, let's put it that way. Dragon Age Dreadwolf, which was just renamed Dragon Age Veilguard. Just roll the trailer, Austin. Look, I've been cheering for a BioWare success. I truly have. I really have. I've been saying for a long time, I really want, Dreadwolf to pop off and be fantastic, because we want this game to be successful. We want BioWare to survive, okay? But this trailer fucking sucked. It really sucked. I'm sorry, but what was this trailer? Like, what was this music? What was the way the characters were introduced? What was this tone? What was this anything? I was like, what is this? For real. I was so stunned by how bad this was. I was so, I couldn't believe it, And I mean, I go back to my original, my memories of Dragon Age Origins, which is really grimdark and serious, and that's the tone of the game. And it got a lot more whimsical with Inquisition for sure, but this just looks like a whole other level. I saw some commentary that this looks like a Fortnite seasonal update trailer. Other people saying it looks like a new 5v5 hero shooter. I mean, Yeah, man, I don't know what happened here. Every trailer does not need to be remixed to some famous pop song, especially when we're dealing with a license like Dragon Age, you know what I mean? So, look, maybe it's just a bad trailer. You know, we haven't seen the gameplay yet. That's slated for very soon. Actually, EA have said that they're coming out soon with some proper gameplay reveal. Let's hold judgment until then, okay? We've all seen bad trailers for good games. This was a very bad trailer. This is a very, very, very bad trailer. And I really hope that that BioWare can recover from this one, because man. Speaking of like remixes to 90s pop songs or whatever, there's this game called Mixtape. I can't show it to you with music because it would get the video copyright struck, sadly. But yeah, it's actually from the same people who made The Artful Escape, which was a multi-award winning game, really visually spectacular. And this kind of is about the story of what it's like to be young and to go on adventures and to have a soundtrack for that period of your life and what it means to kind of listen back to those songs and have those memories again. It really struck a chord, to be honest with you. It was actually one of the best things that I saw there. I really like the look of it a lot. It's published by Annapurna Interactive, who really know what they're doing. I wish I could play this music for you because it really did have a fantastic soundtrack. But anyway, it's called Mixtape and it's out sometime next year. The Life is Strange series continues with Double Exposure. It's a game about a girl who can move between two dimensions and needs to solve a mystery within both of those. Yeah, I mean, it's made by Deck 9, as you would expect. It's confirmed for October 29th. This one is confirmed to be multi-platform, so it'll be arriving on PC and PlayStation as well. Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn is a Souls-light from the same people who made Ashen, a game that I actually really enjoyed. I kind of low-key hold a candle for that game. I think it's a bit underrated. I've actually played Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn, and I'm gonna do either a dedicated video on it or I'll talk about it at some point in the future in some way. TLDR, it's good, I like it. It's a bit rough around the edges, but I think it's still nailing what it wants to nail. And I think if you're interested in Souls-like experiences, but you find them a bit challenging, but then I think this might be for you. Wu Chang: Fallen Feathers is another one of those action martial arts games set in like ancient China or whatever. Feels like we're getting a lot of these lately. I'm not sure how many are doing the rounds right now. It feels like maybe 4 or 5 at least. I guess that's okay though. I mean, so far they've all been kind of interesting to check out. Not sure if we'll be a bit exhausted of them all by the end. It's out sometime next year, and that is multi-platform, also coming to PS5 and PC. Fragpunk is yet another 5v5 hero shooter. Yep, they're making another one. I actually like the look of this one, but I'll tell you why. It's because we got to see actual gameplay of it, which we didn't see a lot of gameplay throughout the rest of this showcase. So when I was seeing actual gameplay stuff, I was locked in, man. I was like, yeah, cool, this is great. I mean, it looks kind of fun to play, but I don't know, until you get your hands on this stuff, you can never tell. But it's another one, it's coming from NetEase. It's slated for next year, and right now it's only confirmed for PC and Xbox. Winterborough was basically the only small sort of indie game that Xbox showed in this entire showcase, which I think really shows you where their focus lies, something we've spoken about in the past. But it's a, you know, cozy survival game where a mouse comes back to their home to find that everything's been destroyed and they need to rebuild it. It has a nice art style. It looks pretty straightforward and simple, but yeah, it did stand out to me for how different it was to everything else. And it does indicate how Microsoft want to use their showcases going forward. But yeah, its presence here was definitely interesting. Just briefly, we got another look at Mecha Break, which we saw in the previous like Summer Games Fest showcase. We saw even more of it here. It looks even more fun, so that's nice. We also got a very brief look at Assassin's Creed Shadow, and there we saw like the first actual gameplay, but again, sort of not really. It was very quick and almost like a teaser. Ubisoft Forward is scheduled for today, by the time this video goes out, and that is when we'll see proper deep dive gameplay into Assassin's Creed Shadow. Metal Gear Solid Delta, I continue to be extremely conflicted about. Let's just play some of the trailer actually with sound. Roll it, Austin.
This will be a sneaking mission. You must not be seen by the enemy. You must leave no trace of your presence. Is that clear? This kind of infiltration is the Fox unit's specialty. In other words, weapons and equipment are procured on site. That goes for food as well. You're completely naked, just as your name implies.
I have to find my own weapons and equipment? Whose crazy idea was this anyway?
The mission rests entirely in your hands.
A real one-man army.
Just hearing, you know, David Haydar's voice and the mission briefing written the way that it was, And knowing that this is like Hideo Kojima's game, it just feels weird that he's not involved in this at all, or not acknowledged, or anything like that. You know what I mean? So it does look cool though, like no doubt about it. You know, I'm genuinely very interested to see how this goes. But as a very loyal Kojima stan, I am conflicted. But anyway, yes, Metal Gear Delta. It is on the way for PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, and there is still no release date. But by far and away, the best third-party showing, at least according to me, was this one. Check it out.
Every year she paints again. And every year, an expedition departs for the continent with one hopeless mission. Destroy the paintress so she can never paint death again.
So this is Claire Obscure Expedition 33. You may have noticed the voice over there. That is, of course, Ben Starr, the voice of Clive Rosfield, who totally ate it up in Final Fantasy 16. When I saw this gameplay, though, at the front, I'm like, this looks kind of Unreal 5 tech demo engine thing. Like, I was like, I'm not really vibing with this. But then I saw the combat kick in, and I'm like, hey, turn-based combat, hell yeah. Like, I was just like, all right, I'm down for some of that, you know what I mean? Especially given how flashy it looks, and it seems to have some kind of rhythm stuff going on with it as well. The setting seems to be really interesting. Apparently it's inspired by the lavish art and culture of France's Belle Epoque, the late 18 and early 1900s. Yeah, obviously with Ben Starr's voice talent on board, that also helps a lot. It's being made by a bunch of former Ubisoft developers. It's being published by Kepler Interactive, who are a label that I pay a lot of attention to because they consistently put out excellent stuff. For example, they're the people that put out Pacific Drive. So a lot of reasons why this one is very firmly on my radar, having never heard of it before. Now I'm like, hell yeah. There's no date for this one yet, but Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is coming to PC, Xbox, and PS5 sometime next year. Okay, so that was all the third-party stuff. I think Microsoft did a good job of picking some winners there, highlighting some cool stuff. Yeah, that was a nice spread. So they did a great job there. Well, except for the Dragon Age thing, of course. We talked about that. Now, let's talk about their first-party offerings. Kicking things off was Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Regardless of how you feel about this, Call of Duty is a massive, like disgustingly gigantic game, okay? When Phil Spencer said that 100 million people per month play Call of Duty, like my jaw hit the floor, because I knew it was big, but I didn't know it was that big. That is utterly absurd. And so, as I said, regardless of how we might feel about COD, you kind of have to pay attention to COD because it's too big to ignore. Definitely liked some of the stuff that Phil said about their approach to Call of Duty, and he noted the fact that due to PlayStation's exclusivity stuff, that they got access to a lot of maps or betas or whatever else before people on Xbox or PC did. And Phil Spencer said that for the first time in a long time, everyone will get the same thing at the same time. The big news though when it comes to Call of Duty and Xbox is the fact that Call of Duty is going to be on Game Pass. But do note the details on this, right? And that is that it kind of breaks down in different ways. Game Pass Ultimate gets you absolutely everything. Game Pass PC also gets you everything. But if you only have Game Pass on console, then you can only get the campaign. You don't get any of the multiplayer or zombie stuff. And if you just have Game Pass Core, which is like Xbox Live essentially, lets you play online, then that gets you nothing. Like that basically just lets you play online if you've already bought the game, right? So it's kind of a bit complicated, but you can sort of understand why Microsoft sliced it up this way, given the fact that like this franchise generates a lot of money. So I can understand why, you know, if you want the full COD experience, then you also have to have the full Game Pass experience. Kind of makes sense. As for the game itself, it is Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I actually liked the last Black Ops campaign quite a bit, and this looks to be kind of like a continuation of that. I'm kind of interested in that. I expect that I would play it for, 6 to 10 hours and have a good time with it and not touch it again after that. After this show, they did a deep dive into other stuff that they're working on for the franchise. Like they're reworking movement and some new stuff they're doing for zombies and whatever else. And look, sure, they're always putting in some work to make COD better, to change it up, to go, add new movement mechanics and then remove them 3 or 4 years later. Point is, it's Call of Duty, man, and you kind of know what to expect, and it's going to be easier than ever to check it out if you have Game Pass, so that's kind of cool. State of Decay 3, it got a new trailer. Take a look at some of it, I guess. I was really excited to see this one because oh cool, it's been so long since we've heard about State of Decay 3. Looking forward to seeing some gameplay, looking forward to seeing a release date. Got neither of those things. So, you know, all we now know is that State of Decay 3 continues to exist. We have no idea when it's coming. There isn't even an indicative window. This was pretty early in the presentation as well. And this is when I started to be like, okay, hope we don't have much more of that. And yeah, we absolutely had more of that later in the show. When I saw Avowed pop up on screen, I was like, cool, this is the moment we're gonna get a release date for Avowed. Very excited. Again, no release date. Yep, it was just more trailer stuff that we'd kind of already seen before. Like we've seen a few gameplay trailers now. Looks fun. It's Obsidian, so I'm there day one, absolutely. But a release date would have been nice. We don't have that. All we know is that it's coming sometime this year. South of Midnight was, yeah, look. Let's play some of the trailer.
That's too total. Big gator. I gotta drop you off fast.
After I got you out of that tree, you said you helped me find my mama.
I ain't of a disposition to be gator snacks.
Well, me neither.
If we're gonna go on, we gotta get rid of him.
I'm all ears.
So first of all, really into whatever the hell this is. Like the vibe, the setting, the characters, the writing, all of it just seems like really interesting. Just a setting that we never really see explored. Or hardly ever, you know? So I'm actually quite down for whatever this is. But again, I really would have liked to have seen some more of it because after she gets off this big fish thing, she kind of goes and fights this boss very briefly, kind of just hits him a few times and then he falls over. And then there's a brief bit of traversal and then we're back to, you know, a bit more cutscene stuff. And yeah, I mean, I would almost classify this as like reveal territory. Like it gave away so little. Still got no idea what this game is. And we also don't know when it's out because it's listed for 2025. Definitely optimistic about this one. I really like the look of it. You know, I'm glad that it's in Microsoft's portfolio. I'm glad that they're making it, but do I know what it is yet? No, I definitely don't. In a similar vein, is Fable, where when that popped up, I was really excited because, you know, I'm like, here we go. We're going to see some actual gameplay and we're hopefully going to get a release date. Or a release date, I don't know. I was like, whatever. Anyway, take a look at the trailer.
I mean, sure, you get your mega fans,
You are like literally my favourite person.
your haters,
It's like a fan club, but we hate you.
your chancers, and the occasional giant toad, for some reason. But it's more than that.
So again, it's another trailer has very similar energy to the last trailer that we saw last year. There's a few snippets of gameplay in here, I think. Hard to tell. Do we know what this game is yet? No. Do we know how it will play? No. Am I looking forward to it? Sure, absolutely. But yeah, I just don't know, right? Interestingly, it's being co-developed by Eidos Montreal. And what's fascinating about that is that Eidos Montreal are owned by Embracer Group. They were purchased at the same time that Crystal Dynamics were purchased because they were the property of Square Enix and then Embracer bought them up. Crystal Dynamics has been put to work to assist the initiative on the development of Perfect Dark, which we'll talk about in a second. And now we learn that this studio is working to support Fable. Eidos Montreal, who made Deus Ex games, should probably be working on the Perfect Dark game. And Crystal Dynamics, who made the Tomb Raider games, should probably be working on the Fable games. Am I right about that? I don't know. I think there's something to explore there. Anyway, Perfect Dark. Apparently this is Perfect Dark. You wouldn't know it if you played the previous Perfect Darks. I'll be real with you. I don't know about this trailer. Visually it looks, unmoored, I think is how I would phrase it. I understand that it's a reboot. I get that, and I'm like, fine with reboots. But what I saw here, nothing about it really kind of leapt out to me, being like, oh, I must play that video game. Like, where were the really cool gadgets that, you know, define that series? And the incredible sort of like futurist and alien technology. Yeah, it has some parkour stuff in it now. The pitch says that it almost plays like, you know, just like an immersive sim. And that's cool that they're making an immersive sim. That's an interesting direction for Perfect Dark. Again, it would have been kind of cool if Eidos Montreal were involved in that. But this trailer just gave away so little. Even though it's gameplay, like you can't tell me you know what this game plays like at this point. Neither do I, you know? Furthermore, there's no release window for this one. at all, like at all. We don't know if it's 2026 or 27. This comes after many rumors that this game has been locked in development hell for a long time, and that is why Crystal Dynamics had to be brought in to assist the initiative with it. This gameplay here has all the markings of gameplay that could look totally different in 4 years' time when this game actually ships, because what's there looks so threadbare at this point. So yeah, look, cool, Perfect Dark. It's nice that it's being brought back, but you definitely can't put me in the like converted column on this one yet, because I just have way too many question marks about this at this point. Another very interesting story to be told about Gears of War E-Day. So first of all, take a look at some of the trailer. So what's interesting about this, and what no one saw coming, is that this is a prequel to the original Gears of War trilogy, okay? Everyone thought the next Gears of War game would wrap up the current trilogy, because 4 and 5 set up, you know, a whole new story arc with new characters, and they were gonna wrap it up in the 6th game. But the thing is, no one really liked that story arc and that new trilogy and those new characters. And so I guess the studio was faced with a difficult choice. Do we continue that and try and stick a landing that no one is really asking for, or do we pivot back to what people wanted? They've clearly chosen to pivot back to what people want. That's fine, I guess. Like I'm not hugely connected to the Gears franchise, so that's fine by me. Furthermore, I've seen nothing but joy and excitement from Gears of War fans about this, right? None of them were particularly psyched for the idea of completing that trilogy, right? So it's a bold move, it's an interesting pivot. But what is this video game at this point, right? It's, we have not seen any gameplay. It's a cinematic reveal, and it's like, it's cool. It had the music in there that everyone's excited about, but when is it coming out? We don't know. Like, is it next year? No release window whatsoever. So we will just continue to wait for that one until it is done. All right, time for some Indiana Jones. Roll it, Austin, but not the theme song bit, because again, Disney will copy strike us.
These artifacts have a deep connection to something in the past. Boss believes they hold a kind of power. A discovery that could change the world.
What were you doing out there?
Fresh air!
Indiana Jones, I love me some Indy. I am looking forward to this. I was really keen to see this trailer because I was like, cool, you're gonna show me big chunks of gameplay where I get to see what it's actually like to play this Indiana Jones game. Instead, it was a cutscene, basically. I must say, Troy Baker is doing an excellent job as Indy. At first I was skeptical, but the more I heard him, I'm like, gotta hand it to the man, he is crushing it. And I think overall, the vibe is there, you know what I mean? Like, you're fighting Nazis and, like the humor is there, like without overdoing it, and it just has the right quality. So I think that side of it is great and it looks cool, but the only gameplay that we saw was at the very back end, like these really quick snippets of that's it. So, how does that game play yet? I don't know. When is it out? We don't know. It's sometime this year, 2024, not confirmed, any specific date. It may slip into 2025, who knows? But yeah, I'd really like to see some gameplay at this point. And that brings us to the one game where I walk away from this showcase, the one first party game where I walk away from this showcase being utterly fucking hyped and being like, hell yes, give it to me now. That looks incredible. I'm talking, of course, about Doom: The Dark Ages. This had been leaked a while ago. It was under a project name originally. We got it like Doom Year Zero, I think, when we first heard about it. And then it was leaked recently that it was like, yeah, medieval Doom. And we saw it here and it just looks so fucking cool, man. Like did you see the gun that uses skulls as like ammo and it just grinds them up and spits them out? Did you see like the Captain America shield with spikes and just the whole thing? He has like a fur coat on, man. That looks so badass. All of it, all of it. So really does look fantastic. And, you know, it's like we know what this game looks like. We know what it plays like. We saw a lot of it. I was like, yes, more of this, please. It would have been nice if it had a release date, but that's okay. At least we got some gameplay. It's coming out sometime next year. But I'll tell you what's really interesting. This is coming to PC, Xbox, and PS5. They didn't talk about it in the showcase, but they have since confirmed that Doom will definitely come to PS5, really cementing the multi-platform approach that Xbox has to most things. And that is one thing I would say about this, right? Right now, many of the games in this list, first-party Microsoft games, are confirmed for PC and Xbox. But some of the press releases that we saw about them didn't say explicitly it is coming exclusively to PC and Xbox. It just says that it's coming to PC and Xbox. And that leaves the door open for them to later also come to the PS5, or potentially even the Switch 2 when that releases, because that's slated for early next year, right? My point is, with all of this, I do expect many of the games that we saw here today to also arrive on the PS5 and potentially Switch 2 when it comes time to, you know, firm up release windows. I think we saw that with Doom. We're going to see it with others as well. So just be ready for that. Anyway, that was a showcase. Let's do some final thoughts now. So to summarize, let's slice this presentation up a variety of ways to see what it tells us about Xbox and where they're at right now. Xbox showed 30 games during this showcase. 10 of those were seasonal updates like Sea of Thieves, expansions like Diablo or World of Warcraft, or remasters like Age of Mythology. From this, you can see how massive Microsoft's live service and IP war chest has become. This is the company that now owns Elder Scrolls Online and World of Warcraft. It's the company that owns Fallout 76 and Overwatch 2, and Diablo 4 and Sea of Thieves, and probably heaps of other stuff that I've forgotten. Sony has a clearly stated goal to grow their live service footprint, but through acquisitions, Microsoft has bought themselves a live service freight train that is already roaring at full speed. And that isn't including their headline offering this showcase, and the headline offering of Microsoft's entire portfolio, Call of Duty. 100 million players a month and still growing, a promising release ahead in the form of Black Ops 6, given further growth potential by Game Pass. Which brings us to Game Pass, which we haven't spoken about at all during this video. Of the 30 games shown here in this presentation, 18 of them are going to be playable day one on Game Pass. That includes COD, Indie, Gears 6, Doom, Avowed, Stalker 2, Fable, and so much more. That is and has always been crazy. We have waited a long time for Microsoft's release cadence to catch up with the promise of Game Pass. This year alone, so long as none of them are delayed, Indiana Jones, Avowed, Stalker 2, Flintlock, Life is Strange, and the next Call of Duty are all coming to Game Pass. Will all those titles be good? I don't know, but I suspect at least a few of them will be, and that represents tremendous value that no other platform is able to provide right now. How sustainable is that model over the long term? And how helpful is that model as it relates to conditioning buying habits or value in games? We will have to wait and see, of course. But for now, that is a damn good deal. No one can argue that. A critical way to slice this list of games is to look at how many of them are actual Xbox exclusives. Of the 30 games shown, 12 of them are currently Xbox and PC exclusive. But Phil Spencer said just yesterday that we can expect many more of their games to come to other platforms. Doom is coming to PS5, and I personally am willing to bet big money that basically every one of those 12 games that are currently exclusive will end up on a PS5 or a Switch 2 or both at some point or another. What then does this showcase mean for the future of Xbox hardware? The Xbox console is a cheap and effective path into the Game Pass ecosystem, sure, but this multi-platform approach continues to cement the Xbox console as rather superfluous, and no showcase, no matter how good, can change that reality. That only changes if Sony and Nintendo were to adopt a similar policy. That is possible with PlayStation, but absolutely impossible when it comes to Nintendo. The metric I focus on most when it comes to showcases like this is how much actual gameplay did you show me? If we look at Xbox's first-party lineup in 2024, we're talking Avowed, Stalker, and Indie. We know what Avowed and Stalker look and play like, no guesses there. Indiana Jones, though, I think it is passing strange that this game is coming this year and we're now 3 trailers deep without having seen a proper look at actual gameplay. Looking further into the future, things get even more murky. Doom: The Dark Ages looks fucking sick, absolutely no doubt about it. But it's basically the only newly revealed first-party game that we got to properly see.
I just don't buy that perfect dark gameplay. The more I watch it, the more confused and thrown together it looks. South of Midnight is absolutely nailing its setting, but we still don't know how it actually plays. Fable, it feels like we got the same trailer again, but 12 months later. State of Decay 3 is just nothing, like it may as well have not been there, and Gears of War E-Day is an interesting pivot for the franchise, but without seeing any actual gameplay, and without having a release window to cling to, I'm not letting myself get too excited yet. So that's why I'm not quite on the same page as everybody else when it comes to this showcase. I liked it. I think it was good. I think Microsoft sold the promise of Game Pass well. I think they reminded everyone how many successful live services Microsoft now owns. I think it showed off some strong third-party partnerships, but more than a few of those first-party showings felt like smoke and mirrors, and I've definitely seen enough of these showcases to know that actual, real gameplay is the money shot, and until I see that, I'm always going to keep my hype in check. Anyway, that is my take. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.
It's Father's Day coming up real soon, so let me ask you something. Does your dad have hairy arms, a hairy back, a hairy face? Well, he's probably also hairy in a bunch of other places that you don't want to think about, but that's alright. Let this video sponsor Manscaped do the thinking for you. They have a huge range of above and below the waist grooming solutions that'll keep your dad feeling smooth and looking fresh for his big day. The Handyman is one of my top picks. Powerful and compact, this electric face shaver isn't just for home use, it's perfect for quick touch-ups on the go. Its precision blades ensure a clean shave every time, making it an essential tool in any dad's grooming kit. If your dad prefers rocking a scruffier beard, then the Beard Hedger Pro Kit is the ultimate beard maintenance kit for him. This all-in-one kit includes the Beard Hedger, Manscaped's most advanced beard trimmer, along with shampoo, conditioner, oil, and balm for his beard. It also comes with a brush, comb, and scissors so he can style his beard and mustache like a true gent. And don't forget Manscaped's world-famous Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. It's the perfect gift for dad since it contains the Lawnmower 5.0 for all of his intimate grooming needs. The Performance Package 5.0 also includes the nose and ear hair trimming Weed Whacker 2.0, the Crop Soother aftershave lotion, as well as the Crop Preserver anti-chafe ball deodorant. Once they touch your sack, you'll never go back. Hell, Manscaped are feeling generous, so right now if you grab the Performance Pack 5.0, you also get some Manscaped boxers, very comfy, as well as the Shed 2.0 travel bag. So help your dad take care down there with Manscaped. Get 20% off plus free shipping with code SKILLUP at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code SKILLUP at manscaped.com. Never forget where you came from, if you know what I mean. Happy Father's Day from Manscaped, and a big thanks to them for sponsoring the video.